And your excitement when you get something you've really wanted. Like the gold standard in automotive protection, WeatherTech floor liners. With deep sculpted channels and laser measured for total protection in the front, back, and even up the sides.
Dad, you're going viral.
What? WeatherTech me.
So don't be shy, enjoy. Order your premium American-made products at WeatherTech.com.
All we saw with Chris Hutter on our screen just momentarily. Let's see what he can do here in his third ever professional weekend. Hi, everybody. I'm Jeremy Scott. Joe Peak will be joining me momentarily here at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. We have the North America Sprint Challenge North America Cayman series, I should say, as they come around for their 35 minutes plus one lap race. Cars are on pit road. We're just about set to get started with this impressive facility. If you have not been here yet, highly recommend you do so. We want to welcome our viewers on Flow Racing on the Porsche Motorsport North America YouTube page and here at COTA. Take a quick look at the track as it's round 3 of the season for Porsche Sprint Challenge North America, presented by Yokohama. And here are some of the scenes from earlier today. And really the big story of the day is the heat, as you're not seeing what it's doing now. But during the USA West race, you saw a little bit of the haze. And these drivers are ready to take set on this iconic course. We saw a lot of moves going into turn number 12 and heading into turn number 11. That's where the pass for the overall win was made in the West. So what will happen there? Turn 15, that's a tough left-hander. You could either do the over-under or make that pass. Also, turn 20 into Andretti. Seen a lot of lines going into Andretti, so we'll see what happens. But the big story will be turn 1, big red. And that's usually where we see our schmozzles at the start of the race. 20 turns, 3.41 miles. The cars are sitting on the head of pit road. And let's go through that starting lineup real quick. A lot of great drivers, a lot of great storylines. Nick Schaefer is your pole sitter once again. He'll be alongside Ian Porter. Ian is going to be coming back from a practice crash that he had yesterday during the second full Cayman practice. Row 2, Caroline Conda. She's been really quick this weekend. Can she translate into that into a win? Then it's Lonnie Unser alongside her in the number 4 Speedway Motorsports Cayman. Row 3, we'll see Jeff Myshak, your Cayman Masters pole sitter, and what a great story here. Rafa Martinez, this is his home race, has a lot of guests here. His career best qualifying of a 6th in that Rafa Racing Cayman. On to row number 4, you've got Elaine Scalzo alongside Michael Clark. Clark's coming off of 2 wins here at Barber Motorsports Park. Can he repeat that at COTA? Bill Fennick will be alongside Tillman Schmidt. We welcome him back after he missed Barber, but his driver that ran in the place really did quite well. And row number 6, it's Bill Pelchewski. He's been awful quick as well. And Chris Hutter with, again, his 3rd pro weekend of the season. On to row number 7, Eli Hogan is going to be alongside Patrick Dempsey, making his professional return to motorsports since 2015. He'll be in the number 99 Mobile 1 Cayman. Tom Kopczynski and Sean McCaig. McCaig also had an issue in practice as well, but his TPC racing team able to get that fixed. Then it's Jim Johnson. We welcome him back after he decided to take a vacation during Barber weekend, and Joe Rizzo and the number 24 BGB Motorsports Cayman Masters. We'll go to the next row where we'll see Rob Trollinger and Woody Witchard alongside each other. Witchard in that nice Cayman Camo number 3 Cayman. Then it's Kevin Maxim and Paige Morales, another driver who's really excited about racing at home. She's got a lot of experience here with track days and racing here at COTA, so expect her to move near the front. That's row number 11. Off to row number 12, you're seeing Roland Crines and Joseph Petkis. Both of those drivers looking to improve throughout the weekend. Over the row 13, it's Sean Kelishati. Kelishati had an incident in qualifying off of turn number 9. Joe and I both were able to talk to the crew, and they were confident they could get that car back up and running. So that number 7 RWE Cayman hopefully will be in the back of the field. Looks like, according to the dots, he might be. We go on board with some of our cameras. This one is going to be carrying Lonnie Unser, starting from 4th place. She's looking to improve upon that position, but a lot of fast cars ahead of her with Schaefer, Porter, and Conda. Going to make life just a little interesting. It'll be one pace lap plus 35 minutes and a lap. If you look on the left side of your screen, if you're watching us on Flow Racing or YouTube or even here trackside, the Cayman Pro-Am cars have the white backing with the black numbers, and the Cayman Masters have the yellow backing with the black numbers as well. So the big story of the past couple of races has been actually Nick Schaefer as well. He's trying to make his way into professional racing, but needless to say, he's been quick from the word go. We've seen him fast at Barber. We've seen him fast here at COTA. So I would not be surprised to see Porter have another challenger. Chloe Chambers really set the world on fire to win her 4th race in that car at Barber Motorsports Park. She swept the weekend last year at Barber and again this year. But second race, Porter was able to keep Chloe just a little bit more honest, as Porter had to start for the back of the pack in race number 1. So the field working their way off of turn number 11. We'll see the lights go out of the pace car here momentarily as everybody trying to warm up their tires the best they can. Again, it's Schaefer and Porter in row number 1. So 70 and 86. Row 2, the 84 of Conda and the 4 of Lonnie Unser. Jeff Myshak with a fantastic qualifying effort puts him alongside Rafa Martinez in row 3. And that's a feel-good row, to say the least, because both of those drivers have been looking for a start like this. As it looks like the lights are out on the pace car going into turn number 12. We'll see what happens here as the field will pair up right around the carousel. That's where we've been seeing a lot of these cars. That's where we've seen a lot of these pairings happen. As we welcome back Joe Peak. Joe, we got just a little bit of time before the start of this race. Let's get your final thoughts, because as I said, Conda's going to be one to watch from row 2.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's been the big story coming into this one, is Conda looking very quick, especially in comparison to Porter. But Schaefer is kind of the thorn in all of this, and it could wind up being he takes the win over Porter instead. Don't forget about Lonnie Unser back there in 4th as well.
All right, field starting to pair up near the back. Schaefer waiting for Porter to run alongside him. Now that car's not all white today. There's a little bit of primer on the right front, as the Rafa Racing by GGX crew had to make some repairs, but they were confident that they were able to make those, and we saw that Porter not really missing a beat. So your front row coming off of turn number 19, pace car pulling off. It's Schaefer and Porter in row 1, Conda and Unser in row 2, Myshak and Martinez in row 3. Nice and tight now. Remember, we're not using the finish line for the start. We're using the FIA start line, a little bit more midway through the pack as the field starts to bunch up, and I do believe we will not have a start this time by no start as we look at timing. Yeah, we are green. We are actually green. I see what happened. So Conda looking like she's going to make her way to the inside of Porter, but she's going to have to try and have Schaefer go around, but Porter going to the outside as looks like Schaefer backing up the field. Looks like might have one car maybe spun. No, everybody able to get through the turn 1 complex easily as we have single file traffic, at least for the top 3.
Schaefer went to San Antonio. He was so far off the track there. He was using that paved runoff quite a bit, but it worked out well for him because he continues to lead over Porter and Conda. She tried her best. She managed to get to the inside of Ian, but the teammates stayed as they were.
And Conda really trying to keep Ian honest. This is her 3rd race weekend in this platform, so no surprise that Conda able to catch up and really be a quick study here as we're going through our first lap. But look at the gap that Schaefer has over Porter, and that's a good thing for him, not so much for Porter.
Absolutely. So it's going to be an interesting battle between the pair of them. I'd say Conda, at least on this first lap, looking like she's got the pace to hold on to Ian. But Ian moves to the middle of the track here, going slightly defensive on Caroline to see if he can try and dissuade her. And she actually doesn't seem to have the speed at the end of the straight in comparison as we go side by side, just behind them with Fennick alongside, I think that's Scalzo.
Yeah, so that's the battle for position
Whoa,
as Hutter. Whoa, a couple of cars go a little wide. So now we're going to make it 3 wide for position. That's the 77, the 15, and the 24 all involved. Look at Pelichewski, though. He's getting a little racy as he makes a little bit of contact there with Tillman Schmid going into the corner.
Oh, boy, they were getting awful close. There's so many lines that you can take through this, so 3 wide isn't too shocking, but it's how they come out the other side, which thankfully involves all the cars with nobody being spun.
Yeah, so far so good. Maybe a little bit of tire rub on the door, but no harm, no foul as the field works their way around to complete lap number 1. This middle of the pack battle between Fennick, Hutter, Pelichewski as well, looking pretty good. Actually, look at the Dempsey's falling back just a little bit. Again, remember, this is his first lap, so he's going to hang back with Johnson, Hutter, and the 34 as well of McCaig. McCaig trying to still sort out his car after that crash that he had in testing.
I like what I'm seeing out of Kogan here. He's coming in from the West Series, trying his hand now at the North America, and there's vastly more cars out here, and he is in the thick of it looks like, in fact, directly in front of Dempsey.
And, of course, Kalashati, who's the other driver from the West, he will not take part in this race as it looks like he has not logged a time just yet. Still, the 70 of Schaefer holding steady, but we're watching this battle right now for 13th in overall 6th place in position as they come around the S's. Of course, Dempsey and Johnson, they used to race against one another in what is now the IMSA Pilot Challenge. So they're familiar with one another. That's got to help out for not only a driver who's just coming back, but a driver who is coming off a weekend off.
Exactly, and I'd say he's getting his chops back very quickly here. So definitely both of them getting up to speed as we see Dempsey onto the back stretch just ahead of Johnson. Hopefully he got the good exit down the back stretch, and we'll see how they wind up coming into 12.
And Jim Johnson, he is just so happy to be here regardless. It's great to see, he takes it off his music production roles. So he's able to come here, lay back, have fun. He's just such a chill individual. He's such an asset to the series. Of course, ahead of them, I believe that's a 34 McCaig, as Hutter has gotten around. Actually, Hutter's to the back, so that's Kogan, actually. Near the front, Kogan gets a little wide there, but Johnson also trying his best to get around Dempsey.
Yeah, it's kind of funny here that we've got Johnson, who's used to brushing elbows with all kinds of Hollywood characters, and yet here he is racing against one of them now.
Well, again, of course, Patrick Dempsey, you got to remember, when he was racing, we started racing, he was racing in the Grand Am Rolex Series. And, of course, that was notorious for rubbing elbows and door panels and everybody. But we're seeing what a methodical approach out of this Wright Motorsports crew of getting Patrick Dempsey back up to speed. This has been 9 years since he started racing, but Jim Johnson, he's also coming off a little bit of a layoff himself.
Yeah, exactly. Had a little bit of a break and his return to the car and gave us some fun at Sebring. Like we said, had to step away just for a bit, couldn't make it down to Barber, but now he's here at COTA for event number 3, but races 5 and 6 rather of the season. They're going to stay as they are. Whoa, the 81 of Hutter.
Yeah, Hutter with a spin. Not sure what happened there, but looks like he's got a little bit of damaged body work. So we'll see if we can find out what exactly happened there. Of course, we don't have race control radio to comment on that, but nonetheless, a little bit of a spin from Hutter. He's been kind of keeping his nose clean these past couple of races after having that incident in race 2 at Sebring. Or was it race 1? Everything runs together after a while.
I can't remember, honestly.
Speaking of running together, look at Porter and Conda. Conda, she's about 0.8 of a second behind her Rafa Racing teammate of Ian Porter. Both of those drivers, this is their first year in Porsche Sprint Challenge, and really they're starting to make a name for themselves. Porter, as we know, is the points leader, 2 wins at Sebring, 2 second places throughout the season. Conda also sitting second at points, 31 points behind Porter. But Schaefer, look at this. Finally, he doesn't have to worry about having anybody in front of him. He's able to show his true pace early on.
Yeah, he's much like Honda, been hungry for this first win, and where they had Ian kind of hogging the limelight at Sebring, where it was Chambers who was doing that over at Barber. Now Nick can finally step into the spotlight, and he's doing so pretty emphatically. I mean, Porter's almost a full second back.
I talked to Nick, and he recently raced at Laguna Seca, where his endurance teammate and owner, Jared Thomas, let's just say this, had a fantastic race in one of the support series. And Schaefer was saying, I'm happy with my top 10 finish. So Schaefer really starting to come out of his own.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a look back at Myjak, I think, who was leading down in the Masters. He's got Clark behind him. Last time across the line, it was pretty close. And, Clark has overtaken Myjak. So our timing and scoring updates, we have a new leader in Masters.
Yeah, so see Clark trying to get that points lead after a fantastic double win at Barber. I talked to him actually a little bit this morning, and he's like, you know what, I feel slow. But we're seeing on the track right now that 1.1 seconds in one lap over Myjak. He's not showing slow. But it sounds like we do have one car in the pits right now. Two of them. So it looks like Hutter is in the pits. And trying to see if we can get the other car that's in the pits right now. So that's the 18. So that would be
Maxim.
Yeah, Maxim. So Maxim. Well, Maxim had some issues. Oh no, Maxim's slow on track.
Uh-oh.
So we are full course yellow for the 18 of Kevin Maxim, the Archangel Motorsports driver, with a little bit of an issue. I know that they were having some issues in testing as well, but not a way you want to start your first race, your first race of the weekend.
I mean, this is probably and was that some smoke out of the car?
Yeah, that was a little bit of smoke out of the left rear. So a weekend that's gone from bad to worse.
That's more than the left rear. That's the entire rear of the car going up.
Yeah.
I think that is an X vehicle, unfortunately.
Well, we got to get the safety crew out here, but nonetheless, we'll get the safety car out onto the circuit. So, and Maxim making his exit. So that's some good news. If we start to see some safety officials running down that pit lane, and Maxim now realizes that this is a bigger issue than what you. Yeah, he's not right.
Yep.
So,
yeah, I'm glad to see he's safe out of it.
Yeah, he's safe and okay. So a nice sigh of relief. The car can be replaced, and yeah, this might be more than a full course yellow here shortly, because that car is quickly going up in smoke. But thankfully he is out of the car, A-OK, and
now we've got flames. This is a big one. That is a write-off. I think this car is, excuse the expression, it's toast.
Of course, it's bad when you had the safety crew make their way down counter race, and of course that stopped after, I think it was 64, maybe 5. So we have a safety crew going counter race on a hot racetrack. That is not. But again, the good news is, Maxim was able to exit under his own power, and the field now going to be collected under the safety car, and that white smoke is also a good thing as the crews have started to get that fire under control.
Yeah, they've now got extinguishers on it, so that's a good sign. But I mean, I was about to say before we started to see the smoke that it's not been a good weekend for Maxim, because he also got involved in an accident with Ian Porter in practice earlier on, or that may have even been testing, honestly, that caused some severe damage for Porter that he had to get repaired. In fact, I think he said he hurt his hand a little bit in the wreck.
I think that was practice one, actually.
I think you might be right.
Yeah, practice one, and of course, one has to wonder if that incident we saw now was predicated by that crash.
That was one of my first thoughts, honestly.
Nonetheless, we're taking a look at Lonnie Unser. She's up to fourth, holding steady. She's got Michael Clark, her teammate, right behind her. So we'll see what happens here. But again, Nick Schaefer leads from Ian Porter. Then it's Caroline Honda. What a fantastic showing by the French driver as she's trying to get her feet wet in a rear-wheel drive vehicle. Then Lonnie Unser sits fourth. Fifth is Michael Clark in the 17. Sixth is the 29 of Jeff Myjak. That's Bill Fennick in the 15. Eighth is Rafa Martinez. Great showing for him. Eighth overall. Fifth in the Pro-Am class, that's Tillman Schmid in the 77. We're looking at Patrick Dempsey as well with a great showing from him. Sixth in the Masters, 13th overall.
I fear this might be a bit of a long caution because they're going to have to probably clean up whatever was spilled on the track from that fire underneath that car. And hopefully the teams will be very quick. The safety team will be very quick about getting oil dry down and whatever and getting that car loaded up. But unfortunately, we kind of know what we're in for, at least on that front, in terms of that car being basically done for here today. So you can see on the timing tower also we mentioned about Kelishati, so he is a did not start. And you can see all the extinguisher materials that are on the ground as well, which they're going to have to try and clean up. I'm just really glad that the driver is safe. Maxim has gotten out. In fact, you can see him now being kind of ushered off to probably the medical facility.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. He has his helmet on his hand, on his head, and we'll see what happens here in the next couple of minutes. As it's going to be a little bit of a lengthy cleanup. Yeah,
so this might give us some time to do some interesting things. We'll see in a moment here if we can maybe have a chat with one of our drivers. We're trying to see if we can get in contact with Lonnie actually out on track.
We're working on that one right now.
Ready for broadcast in 30.
As we hear that, ready for broadcast in 30. So we will have...
They're still very busy with the situation, so don't eat your tires too much.
So let's see, you're hearing the...
I will let you know as soon as they're up here, so you can also eat your tires again.
As you hear the...
Copy that, thank you.
As you hear the crew once again, it's great to have access to Lonnie Unser. She's quickly become somebody who's been a friend to our broadcast booth, so there's no doubt in our mind that she's going to give us some good information.
Absolutely, yeah. We have had her up in the booth. We had her in the booth last year, actually. Unfortunately, didn't get to work with her then, but in Barber, she hopped up with us for the GT3 Cup Series, since she wasn't in the car during that at that time, and got to get her thoughts about what's happening out there. Because let's be honest, Jeremy and I are we're probably not considered racing drivers, so we know the sport very well. We can say a lot of educated stuff, but we cannot give that first-person perspective that is unique to those that hop behind the wheel and wheel these machines.
Yeah, exactly. And having somebody who has done it all, whether it is here on road course racing, but with road course racing, with going up Pikes Peak. So having that knowledge is a huge, especially with having the family.
Yep, and obviously very storied family, not just here in paved motorsports, but of course Pikes Peak is just integrally linked to the Unser name, and she has been a part of that now as well, having done some runs up the mountain. I've been up there, but I haven't gotten to go, of course, for the climb itself. I'm looking forward to that at one stage.
All right, so we got permission. Let's try this out. Hey, Lonnie, it's Jeremy and Joe in the booth. You got us?
Attention to the leader. Whenever he accelerates, you go as well.
We kind of got stepped over there, so let's try this again.
Fine. Until the green flag broke. So single
So let's we'll come back to that in a second. But nonetheless, this is going to be an interesting little side bit if we can get this done, especially with the. Kill it. So I heard kill it. Okay. So let's go through the field once again as Lonnie Unser is on board there. It's Nick Schaefer, Ian Porter, Caroline Conda, and Lonnie Unser, your top four in Pro-Am. In Masters, it's Michael Clark, Jeff Myshak, and Bill Fennick. Those are your top three. Fennick with a great showing so far as well. One thing I'm noticing, Joe, is that we're seeing a lot of these guys who the past couple of weekends, they've had some interesting finishes. They've tried to get near the front. Now this weekend, we're starting to see something click with them.
Yeah, and that's what I love to see is, at the start of the season, I mean, we had, I don't want to say predictable finishes, but definitely there's a number of cars that took the same position twice at Sebring. Now we're into weekend number 3 here, and it's starting to get a little bit shaken up as drivers figure out what they can and can't do.
Look at that.
I kind of figured that's what that view was going to look like. You get a fire of that size, it's nothing but melted bodywork and unfortunately a lot of metal that's going to be warped and just no good anymore.
So we may have lost yet another car, but we'll see what the Archangel Motorsports crew can do. Their next race isn't until 11:10 tomorrow morning. That might be too much to ask for there as well. But nonetheless, we are hopefully going to get the green next time by, as I'll see what the crews are doing here on the front straightaways. Everybody is slowing down. Yeah, safety workers still on course, so we're set for at least another 2 laps of cleanup.
Yeah, it just went by those trucks there on board with Lonnie. So that means that we are down to possibly 22 cars. Do we know if Hutter is back out on track?
He
actually?
is. Okay. Yeah, so in that craziness, I did see Hutter go back on the course, so he is tail end Charlie right now.
Okay, so he's back out there at least going, so that's good to see, although I'm sure it's a little bit frustrating that that went awry. But just trying to finish the race is a big part of this, I'm sure, for him. Fennick, in the meantime, we're checking back in with his onboard. He gave us those exciting images down in turn 12 where we went 3 wide and somehow got away with it. Honestly, when we were on board, I thought for sure, I think it was Rafa in front of us, I thought he was going to just T-bone that car. He was coming in so hot.
Yeah, it had that look to it, but I've got to say this. I love how we can look at these drivers now. I like how the RS1 team has put Bill on top, and you could see everything. So you could see who's closing in behind him, who he's passing on the inside. And that camera is also pointed just nicely to where you can see who's passing on his right.
Exactly. Yeah, I'd mentioned that in the last race, that I like that they're positioning them so that we can kind of get a glance of that rear view mirror and have a feel. And honestly, I mean, that kind of helps you understand. The driver does have peripheral vision, mind you, so it's a little bit different from what you get with even a wide-angle camera like this. But remember, they've got Hans devices and all kinds of things that will limit the movement of their head. So when you're in the car, you can only see so much. And you have to remember, all this side-by-side racing, it's easy to sit here and criticize if two come together or things get sloppy and they make contact. But imagine, seeing that angle and then trying to know exactly where that other car is at all times.
And, I actually had the opportunity to sit in a presentation with the founder of the Hans device. And that was one of the big things. That's why they went to this Hans device where you can turn your head left to right, because a lot of the early developers were complaining that you really couldn't. Your head was basically stuck in like maybe 5 degrees where you could just look. Now, with the way that everything has evolved, you could look left or right. But racing seats, thankfully, have also evolved to be more of a cocoon. So you may not have that side proliferation that you used to have, 5, 6, 7 years ago. I believe the safety car lights may be out on the field, so we could get back racing with just about 15 minutes left to go, as our eyes are on...
They look out to me.
They look out to me. All right, so we're going to have a restart here momentarily. Yep, they are indeed out as the safety car pulls off. It's Schaefer, Porter Conda, your top 3. Lonnie Unser trying to do her best to keep up to speed, with Myshak looking around Clark for a battle. Oh, a little bit of punching up there as they go to the turn 20. Green flag is back out. Oh, looks like, is that Fennick back there that kind of got a little sideways?
I think it was somebody else. I'm not sure who exactly, but yeah, they someone racing with Scalzo right now and coming down the inside. Oh, he can't even get there in time. Scalzo is going to overtake him. We're watching with Dempsey, who also spies opportunities. In the meantime, Kogan is going to overtake and actually get a 2 for 1.
That was a fantastic move in turn 1, and he's going to try for his 3rd pass, this time on the outside of, looks like, Paige Morales. Yes, he's going to get it done. 3 corners, 3 positions for the AutoWorks driver.
Yeah, I mean, Kogan has definitely been impressing me. Unfortunately, did not get to finish his first race, DNF'd in that one, but after that, he's been winning the West Series races one after another. Now, I don't think he's going to be winning this one based on what we're seeing, but he's definitely given it a good run to see if he can get a top 5.
Well, this is fantastic, too, because it gives him the chance to see how he compares to the North American field, because now he can go in there and say, all right, this is what I need to do if I want to get up near the front. And yeah, that was the 15 of Fennick, who's a little sideways coming off of turn number 20 there on the pass part. But look at the lead that the top three have over, might even have Lonnie Unser there as the 88 of Jim Johnson going around Patrick Dempsey.
And I believe they were in a reverse order before the caution, so interesting that changed around and has already changed back as we see the two of them go side by side down into 12. Dempsey says, I'm having none of that, sir.
Yeah, he's back. I think he's back. You know, it did not take him long to get fast as well. Johnson says, not so fast. We used to race together, and I know how you race, and Dempsey said the same thing. In the single file, though, as they come through the end of the stadium section, Pelichewski, that's him near the back. That is...
I'm checking. But
yeah, nonetheless, this has been a great battle. That might be Rizzo, actually. But here's the battle for the lead right now. Here's Schaefer in the 70. As he has a last time by 6/10 of a second lead over Porter. Porter doing all he can to keep him honest. This time a half a second separate the two drivers.
this really tells you the level that the top racers in this Cayman series are running at. It seems extremely difficult to try and make passes. You need to be working on it lap after lap after lap. And I'm pretty sure that all four of these top drivers are pushing at 10/10 right now.
They definitely are, especially with not much time left. This has now become a tourniqueted race, basically, because you're splitting the race into two parts with the Maxim issue. But nonetheless, Schaefer actually opening up a little bit of gap this time. Buys comes around turn number 9, a little bit of a wiggle there. But actually, it's 7. But nonetheless, this has been intriguing to see what Schaefer can do here to keep the points leader ahead of him, behind him.
Yeah, exactly. He needs this result to try and reel him in. Porter, even though he took second place twice at Barber, was not competing with Chambers, who won the races, so he was kind of the de facto winner in terms of points over his rivals. Today would be the first time that we'll see Schaefer actually gain points on him.
Well, remember, race 1 at Barber, he was right there with Chloe Chambers until that late race restart where he lost it coming out of turn 3. So we've already seen brilliance out of Schaefer's. Porter closes into just under that rear wing.
That was fantastic braking there. Oh, and once again, I may have spoke too soon. Look at Ian already starting to charge and see if he could rattle Schaefer into a bit of a mistake. And we know, based on what we saw at Barber, that Ian is indeed pretty darn good with wheel-to-wheel racing.
No, he really is. Both he and Schaefer doing quite well. A masterclass for the two of them is now they open up the gap between them and Conda. So Conda sitting there in third place all by himself, but she's also sitting there in wait in case something happens with either of those two drivers.
Ian went a little wide there coming out of the triple apexer, so he'll have to regroup. He was right on top of him before, and now he's a few car lengths back. Look at the train of cars behind them. This caution flag has definitely kept the racing extremely close in the field.
It really has, and now we see 0.4 of a second separate first and second, and Hutter with a spin again. So Hutter having a little bit of issues with that number 81 car, as he's just going to go right. No, he's not going to go. He's going to go back on the track. Tail end Charlie, unfortunately, for the driver out of Illinois. As we're watching this battle between Schaefer and Porter, the two, I guess you can call them rookies here in Porsche Sprint Challenge North America Cayman, but nonetheless, they're racing like a couple of veterans.
Very much so, and we haven't touched on it yet this weekend for our viewers, that this is the 5th ever professional race for Ian Porter. He's coming in extremely green and comes, weirdly enough, from a professional gaming background. He was a multiple-time Call of Duty champion. That said, he actually was very into sim racing and has been for a while. He's done a lot of training with that, and he's repeatedly said that it's given him a lot of preparation to know what's coming with this.
And, of course, he has a big following on social media. He also has, he streams his races on Twitch as well. So a lot of fans watching his onboard on Twitch. As we'll see if Porter's going to take a look to the inside. Obviously, a little too far away to make anything happen, and even he agrees as Schaefer turns in just a little early to play a defensive mode but Porter looking to the outside as they go through the stadium section.
Yeah, Ian gave it a look there coming to the breaking of 12. Now he's trying the switchback. We saw that battle with the USA West Series just moments ago, so we know that it is possible to try and get something done if you set it up right through that sequence, but it's not going to work this time for Ian Porter. He is laying it on thick at this stage, and more importantly for Ian, Conda is not there to try and distract him.
Well, and here's the thing too. Even if he does finish second, he still expands that points lead. So maybe that's what he's thinking in the back of his mind. But then again, when you're behind the wheel, what do you want? You want the win.
Oh, if I know Ian, he wants to win no matter what.
Yeah, no. For what little we've known of him, we know that he is hungry for that next win. I mean, I don't know if you saw the video from his crash. I mean, he was upset. Very mad that happened, but that was nothing anybody else could have done. He was just wrong place, wrong time for him.
Exactly. Whoa! Big dive up the inside. Can he get it wound up in time? Nick is going to cut back underneath him as they come off of turn one. That's the first failed attempt for Ian Porter. Will he learn from it?
Nice little switchback by Schaefer as they come through turn number 2 and now into 3, nose to tail. Porter's lost just a little bit of ground, but Conda saw that, and she might be trying to close in here as the drivers make their way around yet another lap. It's still Schaefer. It's Porter. 1 car length separates that battle for the lead.
Saw a little flash of Pelichowski. Almost looked like he was slow off of 1. Not sure what was going on there. Here's the thing, though. If Porter keeps trying to slide that car in that hot, I don't know if his tires are going to withstand that abuse.
Not at this track temperature either. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next couple of corners as we've got just under 7 minutes remaining in this race. As Schaefer's opened up a little bit bigger gap, but look at who's lurking there in third place. It's the 84 of Caroline Conda.
I mean, Caroline's probably cheering her teammate on like, go ahead, battle, keep fighting like that. That'll help me out tremendously here because she doesn't want just another podium. She wants to try and see if she can take her first win of this series as down through turn 12. Schaefer still leading him. What a race this has been from Nick to hold on despite Ian really trying to see if he can overtake there. Meanwhile, this is Unser ahead of Clark, but this is not for class position. Clark, by the way, are still our leader in the Masters.
So it's 96 degrees Fahrenheit here, ambient temperature. When we factor in the track temperature, it's a blistering 130 degrees. So at this point, if I'm Ian Porter, I'm saving my tires because Schaefer's running at a blistering pace in and of himself. He just he's running 17s, 18s. So
yeah, but I think the fact that Schaefer has that track position, that's what's so important here. And yes, he could try and wait for him to use up those tires, but it's only 5 minutes left. I don't think that's going to be quite enough time. It'll come down to the very end of the race that Ian will have to probably go on the attack if those tires even go off. And compared to last lap, that gap is now almost a second. So again, I think Ian is the one, if anything, that needs to watch his tires.
No, and that's a very astute observation there, because if he races any harder, well, that's going to open the door up for his teammate Conda to try and make something happen. Look at Michael Clark, though. He's got 2.2 seconds. Oh, Dempsey with a little bit of a jump. Oh, trying to get around Tillman Schmid. That is for 11th place overall. So Dempsey trying to do his best to get inside the top 10 overall. Again, the battle between Tillman and Dempsey, that's not a class battle. That is an overall battle.
Dempsey in a top 5 within the Masters class, so not too shabby there coming back to competitive racing. We'll see if we can manage to get thoughts from him on how he feels about that first race afterwards. But as we fly up through the S's section into turn 9, very close battle in the mid-pack. I'm trying to see which those are.
Yeah, that's between the 26 of Scalzo and the 15 of Fennec, as you see them just leaving our screen. Right behind them is a 50 of Eli Kogan, but we're watching this battle where Johnson, he tries to look to the inside of Dempsey. Dempsey shuts the front door on him, but he's still got his sights set on Tillman Schmidt. This is what we were looking for with Dempsey. How can he handle having pressure ahead of him and behind him in this race? Looks like he's doing quite well so far.
Well, the other thing that you can tell here is that Martinez is at his home track. What a great result this is looking like for him here with, I believe, close to a top 10 potentially, although he's dealing with a lot of pressure from behind.
Yeah, Tillman Schmid looking to the inside. And, of course, we saw how many times that outside moves worked, and it doesn't work once again as Rafa gets that apex, and he's closed everybody up. So now you have this battle for 10th between Rafa Martinez, Tillman Schmid, Patrick Dempsey, and Jim Johnson. Dempsey looks to the inside of Tillman Schmid, kind of gives him a little bit of a sideways thank you very much, and he makes up one position. But Jim Johnson, look like he's going to try to go to the outside of the carousel, thinks better of it. Now Dempsey has his sights on Rafa Martinez for that top 10.
Wow, Patrick like a scalpel through there. That was decisive, as now Martinez is under threat, and he's going to get another one potentially. Rafa a little bit slow out of turn 19. That is, what, 2 or 3 positions in one lap?
That almost looks like 3 positions, and now, yeah, that is 2. So move Patrick Dempsey up to 10th place as he's got Tillman Schmid to his inside. Side by side coming into turn number 1. Schmid has the advantage, but Dempsey's not going to let it happen. Oh, a defensive move out of Schmid as he's going to try and look to the inside. They're nose to tail coming through turn number 1. This is phenomenal racing.
Johnson wanted to get his nose in there, but he also didn't want to spin his old rival. But man, what a move by Schmid. He saw that he had a slightly better exit, and he was not going to be intimidated by Patrick trying to squeeze him.
You know, knowing Tillman Schmid, doesn't matter who he's passing, he's just going to be excited because that was one heck of a pass.
That was incredible stuff, and I bet they are all grinning ear to ear here in the mid-pack. We're not missing anything up at the front. Schaefer still ahead of Porter, although it's still at about half a second between them.
Yeah, and they've got a big gap back to Conda, but this is the battle we're watching again for 10th place. We see Schmid has opened up a little bit of a gap as we have one car off.
The 8.
That would be the 8 of Kopczynski. So he is 12th in Masters, 20th overall, but he's back underway. Now looks like Schmid has opened up a little bit bigger gap between he and Dempsey. Again, this is for 10th place, so Dempsey now having to worry about overall and class position to keep Johnson behind him.
Indeed. So he's kind of been in the reverse role now, having to watch those mirrors as behind them it seems like Rafa's got himself a little bit of company. That is, I think, the 34.
That's McCaig, yeah. So McCaig trying to get around Rafa, and that too is not for class position. That's just for overall position. Got a minute 16 left. Where's our leader? We will most likely see the white flag next time. Yep, there's the leader passing. Wait a second. Where's Schaefer?
Oh, is he in pit lane? Because he's fallen down our timing screen now.
So this is quite interesting. Our leader, Schaefer, is not showing up. And yeah, Ian Porter's our leader. Ian Porter has taken the lead. What an interesting turn of events.
I'm checking. I don't see any word on penalties.
I don't see his dot. Oh, he is in the pits. If we take a look at the dots, yeah, he looks like he's in the pits right now. Yeah, he's on track right now.
Okay, well, we'll try and sort out this mystery. Ian, I guess, is basically in the right place at the right time. And while he didn't have the pace for Schaefer, he's got the luck today. Conda, a distant 4 seconds. She's not there to try and pick it up when Schaefer fell by the wayside.
Wow, what an interesting turn of events here at COTA. Ian Porter, he's leading when he needs to most, and it's near the end as he's trying to keep the 7A Schaefer honest. So we'll catch up with Schaefer later, but we had that battle, that mid-pack battle that kind of distracted us from everything going on, and now the 86 of Porter. He's well on his way to taking that white flag.
Wow, and right in the dying moments of this race as well. If that, I'm not sure if it was a penalty or the car had an issue or what it was, but if Schaefer could have managed to hold on for just those 2 more laps, he could have won this race, his first race of the season.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the JTR Motorsports Engineering crew has to say about that, but nonetheless, Ian Porter doing what he does best. He's leading the field coming around 4 seconds over his teammate Caroline Conda, another 3 seconds back to Lonnie Unser, who is set for yet her third place of the year. Coming around turn number 20, the white flag is out for Ian Porter, the number 86. This is lap number 2 that he is leading today.
That's wild to think about,
Yeah.
especially with how he was at Sebring. Also, look down in 8th overall. That promotes Kogan up to 4th in the Pro-Ams. Remember, in a new series, and I haven't gotten to mention it here on this one, that's Kogan's mom's car that he is driving. That's not a joke. That's actually his mother's race car, and he is, he has basically been phenomenal in a car that is not his this season. It's just been awesome to watch.
It reminds me of a story when we were with Radical Cup a couple weeks ago, and I was reminded of this one. A good friend of mine who made his Indy Next debut at Indy, he wrecked his car at Watkins Glen for his debut of his Radical Cup debut, and said, hey, Dad, can I have your car? Ended up blistering the field in his dad's car.
Dad, can I borrow the keys? I guess it worked out in the end. I'd be a very nervous dad if that was the case. But, man, Ian Porter once again. I feel kind of bad because there's so many great stories throughout the field, and we try to touch on them. But I mean it when I say Ian has stolen the spotlight of this series.
He has. And for somebody who's coming from the world of sim, it gives another example that sim racing is technically real racing. It prepares you, but nothing validates it like real seat time, because we see how quick Porter is. He's got great coaches under that Rafa Racing tent. And I think what's going to be interesting is how he's going to handle sharing a car with somebody later on tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be so fun to watch, to see if they can maybe make it another win this weekend in a slightly different format out there, because he hasn't had to deal with that class traffic previously. But 2 corners to go, Jeremy. It's looking like another win for Porter.
And it is, and he's really backed up because he knows that there's no need to rush, because he got gifted the win. But, regardless, he still raced his heart out. The checker flag, the Texas flag come out. Actually, it's just a checker flag for Ian Porter. He wins his 3rd race of the year. 2nd place goes to Caroline Conda. 3rd to Lonnie Unser. And it's 3 for 3 for the driver from Kelly Moss. Michael Clark wins in Masters, followed by Jeff Myshak and Bill Fennick round out your top 3 in Masters.
Man, Fennick's race, fantastic. He had to fight his way up there, and he made good on it. Scalzo just a little off the podium. But Scalzo, Schmid, Kogan, all of them, I think, should be proud of today's results.
And look at where Patrick Dempsey finished in his return to racing. 5th in Masters, 10th overall, with Jim Johnson right behind him. And, yeah, if something's wrong with Schaefer, because he's running down the track with his hazards on, so he will garner a 16th place finish.
Wow.
So,
wow.
All right, let's take a look at the results from today's race. As we'll have that actually shortly. Nope, there it is. Ian Porter, your winner, followed by Caroline Conda and Lonnie Unser. Those are your top 3. Michael Clark, Jeff Myshak, and Bill Fennick, your top 3 in the Cayman Masters. That's Eli Kogan, Elaine Scalzo, Tillman Schmid, and Patrick Dempsey. We are going to take a quick break as we see Jim Johnson, Sean McCaig, and Rafa Martinez, 13th place finish. Still, you got to hand it to him for his great qualifying effort. That's Roland Crines and Bill Pelichewski in 15th. 16th, what could have been for Nick Schaefer? Well, we will see tomorrow, as he's 16th overall, 7th in the Pro-Am class. That's Joe Rizzo, Chris Hutter, another driver who had some difficulties, Rob Trollinger, and Paige Morales. Well, with that, we are going to take a quick break and let some other on-track action happen on the YouTube stream. If you're watching us elsewhere, we'll have the podium ceremonies online, but we will be back for race number 1 of the GT3 class at around 3:35 here at Circuit of the Americas.
It's hard to contain your excitement when you get something you've really wanted. Like the gold standard in automotive protection, WeatherTech floor liners. With deep sculpted channels and laser measured for total protection in the front, back, and even up the sides.
Dad, you're going viral.
WeatherTech me.
So don't be shy, enjoy. Order your premium American-made products at WeatherTech.com.